All right. How is everyone? Another episode of the Rebelcast. I know we went away for a bit and then we came back and now we're back 2 weeks in a row. I love it. But we promised you guys a Duskmourn starter kit. That's what we're going to be issuing today. We're going to be talking about this set. But first, Thea the Bun, how have you been?
Honestly, I've been pretty good. This week's been pretty good to me. Duskmourn's been super fun, honestly. I cannot stress enough how much fun standard is right now. I feel like there's so much you can play literally anything. Like as long as you have like a half decent game plan against like some of the top decks, like I feel like you can just play anything you want.
That's really cool. I'm
Mm,
happy to hear you say that because I was worried. I was genuinely worried that this wouldn't mesh well, but it meshes really well with what we have in standard
does.
already. I'm sure we'll
Mm-hmm.
get to that. I was like, man, what deck am I going to play week one? Usually I go very brutastic. I'm very like, all right, all new deck, a lot of cards from the new set. But this time,
Mm,
I was able to slot in some cards from Duskmourn to Dimir aggro, and I had a lot of fun playing with that and streaming that. Specifically Hall Creeper, which I'm sure I'll get to talk about later.
yeah.
But my God, you can run this. You can run. There's new cards for Golgari. There's new cards for green. Uh,
Mm.
no new cards for Boris Convoke. Well, actually, no, it did get one. It got
Just a doll, right? Arabella.
yeah, I got the doll. It also got the Wandering Rescuer. Is that what I always fuck up that
Yeah,
name?
Wandering Rescuer. Yeah.
Okay,
I think
okay,
I think only the Boros version. I don't imagine the
yeah.
Jeskai version can fit it, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Of course,
Mhm.
I'm still a fan of the Boris version, but yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. We're already finding some staples among Duskmourn for very widely different decks. So
Mhm.
it's been great. Have you been playing any like Pioneer? Do you hear about any of this stuff going into Pioneer? I know we're not really covering that
Yeah.
today, but I'm sure there's some stuff going into Pioneer.
Oh, I'm all over Enigmatic on Explorer Ladder right now.
Hell
I've been
yeah,
loving it.
hell yeah.
Yeah. It's so much fun with the new overlords and actually Marina Vendril, the like 5 color like look at the top 7, put all the enchantments in your hand. That's been pretty good to fetch off of Enigmatic. You can fetch like 4. It's like 5 mana Atraxa for the deck in terms of the draw power.
Yeah, we identified that card as I identified it as like a commander card because it had all the flags for like, okay, this is a commander
Mhm.
card. But then like
Yeah.
somebody sent us that 5 color doors list and I was astounded.
Like,
Like
man, this is just like 5 mana, like draw 6, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, it's wild. I love it. Let's go ahead and jump into our first segment here. First, let me go ahead and break it down. First, we're going to talk about the limited archetypes. We're going to discuss just basically what each one does, and then talk a little bit about our favorites, our not so favorite. Then we're going to go over the constructed set overview, and here we're going to get to talk about just different aspects of the set, how they apply to standard competitively, what's going on, what did it reintroduce or introduce to standard. And then we want to talk about our top 10 favorite cards. We're each going to go over that list. I've looked and there's a little bit of overlap. It's interesting, but not in the
there is,
exact same
yeah.
slots. Not in the exact same slots. So it shows like
Mhm.
it shows our preferences for what decks we like to play. I think, but we'll get there.
Right.
And then finally, we are going to cover some of the lists that we've been running this week, and out of Duskmourn, what are we playing and why? So let's start with the limited archetypes. Duskmourn introduces the same number of limited archetypes that you typically expect from a set like this. We've got 10 that we can identify totally here, and there's some overlap between them across color types. So, for example, I'm going to go into the first one here, Azorius's Eerie Tempo. Which the new Eerie mechanic, and I'll pull up the Wizards page so you get some example cards here. But essentially, you know, get payoffs for enchantments. You want to overload with enchantments. That's the deal. The blue white Azorius is more into tempoing, whereas the Demir side of this is more into kind of a control mechanic. Um, so, like, Skull Snap Nuisance has become the signpost uncommon for this. And you can see payoffs for enchantments, whatever they may be. So, Out of these two, what do you think, Athena? You're in a draft or you're in a sealed. What are you going for out of these two,
I
personally?
don't know, I haven't been really impressed by, like, the Demir stuff, to be honest. Like, I
Hmm.
actually did play a bit of Limited, which I don't ever do.
Yeah.
Um, but, I don't know, the Azorius definitely seems like the only problem with the Azorius one, right, is, like, the theme that it's going for, like, you want, like, enchantments and you want creatures because you want, like, the payoffs and you want the actual enchantments, so
Mhm.
sometimes you can, like, draw the wrong half of your deck or, like, not draft enough of one type or the other. But I think if
Yeah.
you get it right, it's really, really strong. I mean, there's a reason it's become a standard deck.
Yeah, it had. That's what I was gonna say. Is I know at least the Azoria
Mm,
side of this has become a standard deck. So I think we'll get to touch on that later. Uh,
mhm,
Going on down the list, we've got Rakdos, obviously doing what Rakdos loves to do, which is sacrifice, bringing that back. And I just haven't seen enough of this in the field to really judge it. But um, I don't know, the way that they're trying to do it with enchantments, it's interesting because you get some sorts of payoffs for sacrificing enchantments, and
mm,
of course the overlords act as enchantments and creatures. We've got some other things in here, the enduring cards that also act as creatures and enchantments. So I don't know. There's a little bit of double dipping with some of the mechanics here in terms of graveyard play with sacrifice. We've got Gruel, which is jumping into the Delirium mechanic. Uh, Gruel, still very aggressive, but you get some serious payoffs for having the four or more card types among your cards in your graveyard. There's some application to this already being seen in Standard, but I'll touch on that later on. Um, do either of those? Well, I guess we'll wait to the end because we'll get to talk about our favorites.
mhm,
The next one is survival, green white. So this basically asks that you keep the creature out attacking and that it doesn't die through combat, that it survives the attack, and so you get a sort of payoff if you're very aggressive. I like mechanics that reward being aggressive, and this is certainly one. Reanimator in white black. It's interesting. Reanimator's usually like a sub archetype that you find through specific
mhm.
cards, and you build a reanimator deck. But here, they just said reanimator is just one of our limited archetypes. So we'll have to see, and we'll have to assess whether that was successful in sort of bringing back the archetype. I'll tell you this. I'll go ahead and say this. I don't think the Orzhov reanimator list is the best one in standard. I think there's certainly some other colors that you can use with black, and I'm not even sure that the reanimator lists that we're seeing are using Rite of the Moth. Although I really like this card. What do you think?
I think one of the really limiting factor of this is that it gives the creature a finality counter, so you can't get into,
Hmm.
like, grindy games, right? You, like, bring back
Yeah.
your attract, in, like, standard, and then it just dies, and then you can't bring it back again. As a limited archetype, I mean, it's kinda cool. You kinda get the same issue of, like, you need both the reanimator spells and the payoffs, and you need to be able to actually, like, play the board before you get any of that, before you just die. Um I imagine this one makes I got really upset playing against this archetype. I had
Okay.
someone drop Balgavoth on me on turn 4
Oh.
in limited.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
That
was really salty. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that would make me salty too, as you can imagine.
Mhm,
Rooms, which are present in a variety of colors, but blue red specifically focuses on rooms, and we've talked about rooms in the past, saying that it seems a little bit underpowered. And I don't know about the survive, but if you put it into like a tempo deck, I guess I don't know. But as a limited archetype, it seems kind of weak, honestly. Time will tell if rooms make their way into standard competitively. Delirium, Golgari colors. I love this little spider, the brood spinner. I like the idea of
mhm.
this card. I want to make it work, but it's more or less a pet card for me right now.
Go play Roots. Go play
I
Roots.
I should play Roots.
Mhm.
That shell has. You're right. I forgot about that. That shell has sort of incorporated this card and made it work. And then Boros does what Boros always does. It's just heavy aggression.
Same
Uh,
old boring Boros. I love
Boring
Boros.
Boros.
I just hate when it goes aggro because I feel like there's so much more you can do.
I agree. Yeah, it's not that creative, but whatever. It gave us a really powerful addition in the Arabella Abandoned Doll. I feel like if you brew around this, you can make it work to your
Mhm.
advantage. But Last, certainly not least, Simic Manifest Dread. Let's go ahead and talk about our favorites and our least favorite, because that'll get into explaining sort of Simic a little bit, because it is the one I identify as my favorite. But I'll let you go first. What is your favorite among these archetypes?
I've actually really enjoyed the survival mechanic
Okay.
in the green white one. Like you get to drop some like really good cards that like you don't have to just attack, right? Like you can if you obviously some of these are like rares and mythics, right? So it's a little bit harder to get. But if you get like Eternal Rescuer or you get unidentified hover ship or you get what is it, the Beast Ball Bat, the uncommon that you can attack and then tap something else.
Yeah.
Um like there are a lot of ways to trigger the survival mechanic. I don't know how powerful it is. It like seemed fine when I played it, but that's been my favorite so far.
Yeah,
And then
I've
yeah, God, sorry.
I was just going to comment that I actually ran kind of a Simic list when I did my first draft on my stream, and I incorporated some of the green survival cards, and I felt like that was pretty cool, especially when you combine them in other colors and make them unblockable. Um,
Oh yeah.
it was pretty cool, I have to say. So I think there's a before you get to your least favorite, I think there's a they're sort of suggesting or recommending that we combine colors. Like the archetypes are cool by themselves, but they seem to work really well when you combine two of the archetypes together, in my experience. But
Yeah.
anyway, what's your least favorite?
Probably the reanimator one. I just had negative just the one negative experience immediately ruined it for me of like, oh God, like I've been always told that like limited is a now mind you, I don't know anything about limited. I suck at limited. I am a constructed only girl for the most part. I just had the draft token, so I went through it once, got a decent record, went through it a few more times. Um, but it definitely felt atrocious to play against like black white because it's just do they have it or not? Like it feels like there's not really a whole lot you can do if they just
Yeah,
if they just drop their big thing on 4 or 5.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is limiting feeling limited when you're playing
Mm.
the Orzhov Reanimator. I'm inclined to agree with your opinions there so far. I'll go ahead and give my favorite, which is the Simic Manifest Dread. I've run it twice now in draft setting, and really cool way to get. I mean, you were the one who called this out first among the Rebellion people. How with that one card, I think is it the fear of that blue creature.
Oh,
Fear,
Fear of Imposters?
yes,
Yeah.
where I believe it was Mother of Halflings was going to incorporate, or Figured Base was going to incorporate that into the deck that she was building, and you were quick to point out, like, hey, manifesting dread is really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that card, right? Because like you counter their spell and they manifest dread. Now you can't attack with the 3/2 because they have a 2/2.
Yeah.
So it's like, what am I doing here? Like, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
you're
really
not
interesting.
benefiting from having the creature.
You're giving them a body, and you're giving them a body that they could use if it's a really good
Mm,
card. Like, you're making that
right,
happen.
right.
So
So
yeah,
I don't know. The manifest shred mechanic's super strong. I think like if they had pushed it a little bit more, I think it could have been a standard deck just because like we actually have like decent-ish removal in the colors now. In standard and yeah, I mean you just have absolute bombs in these like Oculus, Hauntwood Shrieker, um even just like even the signpost uncommons are pretty good. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, totally. I like it so far. It's I've had some seriously crazy plays with it already, just in
Mhm.
limited. So hey, it could be a standard deck in future sets if it gets some kind of support. If there's good Simic cards, I know I probably say that every set. I want Simic to
If
be a
there's
deck
good
again.
Simic cards. Me
Good
too.
Simic
Me
cards,
too.
yeah.
Look at
But
we got to work on something Simic. I swear there Zimone is a lot better than I thought she was.
yeah, somebody else said
Yeah.
that too, and I'm wondering if there is
Like
a Simic deck somewhere.
just cuz like it's 3 mana, make a 3/3 and then make a 5/5 and then make a 7/7. You know, it just gets so crazy so fast.
I would love to see it. My least favorite of the archetypes is the doors mechanic. Like I've said before, I think it's too underpowered as a limited archetype. But there's a very interesting five color doors deck that we talked about previously. Uh, I was surprised to see it. There's some win cons in there too. It's interesting. It's interesting, and I liked it. I think the question that when I was talking about it on the State of the Meta that Darth Rictus asked me was, do I like it or the five color Niv Mizzet deck more? And I like the Doors deck more, just because it's the Niv Mizzet requires a little bit of nuance. I'm not sure Standard has the cards for. Um, Whereas with the Doors mechanic, it is what it is, and you can tempo your opponent with the Doors. I think it's a tempo option, but it is my
I
least
guess my
favorite.
question,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
do you need much nuance? I mean, your main creature is basically hexproof in the format.
I suppose that's a good counter argument.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I can see that. But in any event, let's move forward and talk about how this set has affected Standard, what sort of things and mechanics it brings to the table with our constructed set overview. So, Athena, I'll let you take it away. What do you want to highlight from Duskmourn?
Thing I want to highlight is enchantments, honestly. We've had a heavy enchantment theme in Standard for a while now, between the talents from Bloomborough. We've had like some, honestly, some really good enchantments through this last like rotation, right? Um, some of them have rotated out, right? We definitely miss things like wedding announcement, but like things have definitely come in to take their place here. Um, the talents now have these rooms, right, to like add on to them. Which I mean, granted, I don't think a whole bunch of them are standard playable. Um, Basically, all your best ones are going to be the ones that are like one mana, do something okay-ish that your deck wants. Like both blue. I think those are the only two like constructed playable ones to me.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, in general, like rooms have been, at least a fun mechanic that people have been building around. Other than the rooms, we have Eerie. Obviously, we covered that in the limited part. It's basically Constellation plus rooms.
Yep.
Um, but there's an entire standard deck that's just a Zorius Eerie or a Zorius Enchantress, whatever you want to call it. It's got like 8 hexproof effects at instant speed, a ton of actually good exile removal in enchantment form. You get to like you got 8 cards that say like draw a card every turn. So it's actually like, a pretty good archetype. Like in terms of like limited to standard, it might be the best in out of these going into standard. Um like the enduring cycle, which are like the 5 creatures that like start as a creature. They have kind of weak stats, but then when they die, they come back as just an enchantment. Um, some of those have already seen standard play between there's like the storm deck with enduring vitality. There's the enchantress deck with enduring innocence. People have tried curiosity and demir. I don't think the other two are very good, but those first 3 seem pretty fine to me. Um, and then we have to top this all off, the most exciting part of this is we have Withering Torment, the new black enchantment removal spell. So now your black decks can get in on the fun of destroying caretakers' talents and rooms and the overlords, yada yada yada. Um, yeah, so that's about it for the enchantments side. Have you played with any of like the new enchantments at all?
Yes. So, the one that I've been playing with the most, and I'm trying to get up on the screen now, is the blue
Mm,
enduring curiosity. Um, Man, I like this one the most. I've played this at least one copy in my Demir aggro list because it is a heavy all creeper into Gix and then into this, hopefully. The fact that it's flash speed is awesome because you can play it at the end of their turn to have it ready to go by your turn. The stat line is good. It's a 4/3, so it avoids things like cut down. Um, and then just the fact that you just draw a card. You don't lose one life and draw a card. You just draw a card
you just draw a card.
is, oh my god. It's amazing. Overwhelming card advantage is the name of the game with that Demir list, and Enduring Curiosity, I might put 2 copies. It is becoming a staple for that list. So Yeah.
Huh?
That's been my favorite so far. And then of course, we've got the whole Overlord cycle as well. Blue one's
Hmm.
probably my least favorite, but
Yeah, same
we'll
here.
get to those because I know we listed some of those as part of our favorites, but
No, we can segue into the overlords here, I think.
yeah, let's do that. In
Yeah.
particular, the Overlord of the Baelmerk is probably the one that I'm looking at the most to enable my graveyard strategies, to enable
Okay.
some of that reanimator stuff that we'll be talking about. Let's segue into I'll talk about graveyard play. Graveyard play is back, and Duskmourn definitely helped. It's whether it's straight up reanimating creatures, giant creatures. It gave us some giant creatures like Valgavoth to want to reanimate. Um, but also, right, Reanimator as an archetype within Orzhov, but also graveyard play in terms of not just Reanimator, but also things such as Manifesting Dread. The way that this synergizes with some of the graveyard play we were already seeing left over from Bloomborough and prior sets with the Descend mechanic, Foraging, which got introduced through Golgari, collecting evidence, Deadly Cover Up, other cards that collect evidence. It's interesting. It makes it feel as if this was intentional design by Wizards, and I've
Hmm.
been praising them for the last 2 3 sets for their design mechanics in terms of the way they're thinking about standard again. They're not just dumping a new set worth of cards for us to go hunt down and buy. They're introducing cards that are actually seeing play right away in competitive Magic. So I'm very appreciative of that, and I hope that trend line continues.
Oh
Um,
yeah, same here.
yeah, definitely. One card I wanted to bring up when we're talking about manifesting dread, especially with that Azorius Mentor deck, but the Abhorrent Oculus. Um, Ooh. Letting you do it at the beginning of each opponent's
Hmm.
upkeep. That is
I've been
crazy.
got by this so many times
Yeah.
already. Yeah. Oh my god. It's like, oh, here I rest in peace. I get rid of your graveyard and they go, oh, destroy evil. Next turn, dump this into the graveyard, reanimate it. I'm like, oh, well now I don't know if I can deal with that. It's honestly it's such a powerhouse. It makes that
Yeah.
deck so good.
Yeah. It
People
really
have
does.
dropped Monastery Mentor from the Mentor deck, and now they're just calling it Azorius Oculus.
Yeah. I was shocked to see
Yeah.
that move. I thought
Yeah.
Mentor was going to be a staple in there, but no, they're cutting that. Um,
Mhm.
oof, yeah, this card is nothing to sneeze at. I really like it, and I like the alternate artwork for it, by the way, too.
Just think, Foundations is almost guaranteed to give us a cantrip like Opt or Consider. That's just gonna make this way better.
Yeah, that deck is gonna be in standard for a long time. Um,
Mhm.
oof. What else have you got for us?
Well, I guess we can go into the overlords here.
Hmm.
The black one's pretty nice. Speaking of all the graveyard stuff, the black one has been really nice for filling the graveyard. I will say you have to be careful with what kind of strategies you're using this one in. Because if
Hmm.
you're playing Reanimator and you play this and mill 4, uh if you mill your sorcery that reanimates, you're not getting it back. So
Yeah.
you have to be really careful what you're like reanimating with. So this is really good with Valgavoth's Faithful. That's like the creature, the 1 mana creature.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That one's
Um
I forgot to mention that in my graveyard set. That has become one of
yeah.
my favorite cards. Is Valgavoth's Faithful. Just for the
Mhm.
reanimator stuff. I've
I
got like
haven't
four.
played against it yet. It's
Really.
crazy because I feel like that card is like the thing that I like about that card, right? Is the card is 1 mana, so they can't just Disdainful Stroke it. It's a creature, so they can't negate it. So and you can't like no more lies the reanimation spell because it's a 1 mana, right? So they need to like no more lies it to stop you from reanimating and then kill this thing before the next turn. I think this card's a lot better than like it initially read to me the more I
That's
thought about it. I just haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, that's exactly why I like it. Is you mentioned it, the fact that you can't negate it or disdainful stroke it, and that's what people are using to
Mm,
counteract that big that play, that
yeah.
the turn 5 reanimate play in a lot of those decks. So does get around that. That's interesting. I know because people probably don't use it because it dies to cut down, right? But um, it doesn't have. The interesting thing about this is it doesn't have to tap to do its thing. It's not like that
Right.
priest that I sometimes use in my
Mhm.
Esper Reanimator historic or timeless deck. Um, instead, this can just come out and do its thing right then and
Immediately do
there.
its thing, and that's a 5 mana
Yeah.
reanimate.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, I'm impressed by like how it looks. I just haven't really played against it at all, and I've been
Yeah.
playing like a completely different style of reanimator. Um, the other over, I think my favorite overlord's the white one still. As much as I've been playing with the red one, I played a bit with the white one again, and I'm like, oh man, I there's something about making tokens just like makes that little dopamine in my heart like really happy. I don't know.
this is
Tokens
one
are
I've
like my favorite thing in Magic.
this is the one I've lost to the most. I- is not being able to grind against this, getting brought
Yeah.
back and brought back. Yeah, yeah. This is
Mhm.
probably the most dangerous to see played by your opponent. I want to say. So I would probably rank this one up there as probably the more competitive of the overlords, like contributing the most to competitive Magic.
Mhm. And I mean, just caretakers into this, into that impending, and then into Sunfall is so gross, right? Because you get the two chump blockers, then you can Sunfall, and this thing's safe from the Sunfall. So yeah, I the white like caretaker decks just look so much better with this card, and I've been playing mono white a whole bunch. You
Yeah,
know me.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're definitely you've
Yeah.
definitely become more well known for mono white than you used to be for Azorius, which I think you enjoy
Yeah.
that.
And then like I guess the thing to mention with these overlords in general is like there's still so much more you can do with them that hasn't really been explored in standard. Like yeah, you can reanimate them, which is nice, right? People have been playing Zur with them, Zur Eternal Schemer.
Hmm.
So you like um you just make it from an enchantment into a creature right away and give it like all these different keywords. Um but there's so much more you can do. Like you can blink these, right? Like in Pioneer, the enigmatic deck, you just Yorion blink it, right? And it just
Ooh.
comes back as a creature. You can I've been doing oh man, push pull with the
Yes.
red one. So if you get two
Yes.
of the red ones, it's 10 plus 16, so 26 damage to their face on an empty board. Yeah, it's been super fun. And then obviously like the green one, we all know. You know, I used to be really excited for this card, and then I found
Yeah.
out that Domain was in standard after rotation again, and then I looked at this card coming this set, and I was like, "Ah,
Yeah.
I had such high hopes for you, and you were supposed to destroy the Domain, not join."
So interesting thing about this card is you can put this in mono green and play domain cards, like play the herd
Uh,
migration.
uh-huh. Yeah, that part's pretty nice. Also, oh, I guess one more thing on these overlords. You can manifest them too, right? They don't get the ETB effect, but if you like use Hauntwood Shrieker, right? You
Mhm.
can flip it up instantly. Or if you have any kind of card that like flips cloaked cards, because manifest and cloak
Yeah.
work really well together. Then that also can cheat these into play.
Oof.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's still a lot of strategies to be discovered. I don't think the code is cracked on Duskmourn yet. I know
I
uh,
agree.
with regularity, we seem to be cracking the code on a specific set in Magic like a week in. That's been the trend line with Outlaws of Thunder Junction, with Bloomborough. People already knew how they were going to incorporate these cards in specific decks, but I still a lot of decks out there, a lot of brews out there that are
Are
putting in work, but I still think there's a lot more coming. So, with that
I
being
agree.
said, let's go ahead and talk about our top 10 favorite cards. And I'll go ahead and get started. And how do you want to do this? Let's do I'll start from 10 and go to 1. That's how
Yeah,
I'll do it.
that's what I was gonna do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. So, number 10, I had to think about this. I almost added a different red card here, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Screaming Nemesis. Um Let me pull it up on the screen. I am terrified of this card. It's already been played against me. One of the best things I like to do against mono red is to gain life. If you could just outgain their aggro, usually that's enough to, basically tempo mono red out of the game. So seeing this card where I'll read it aloud because it's a little confusing at first, but it's a haste 3/3 that says that whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. If a player is dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. There's plenty of ways in that deck to do damage to Screaming Nemesis. So it's almost an inevitability when they bring this in from the sideboard
Mhm.
to counteract life gain. So I don't know why they printed this. This is just
You know, I
mean.
I used to have Boonbringer Valkyrie in my sideboards against Mono Red, and
Yeah,
then I played against this, and I looked at it. I'm like, I can't block it with my Boonbringer. What am I supposed to do here?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So that got a number 10 slot. My number 9 is also your number 9.
yeah, that was interesting how that worked out.
But
Yeah.
Unstoppable Slasher, I really like this card. Let's talk about it. So I've slipped this into Golgari. I've slipped this into Demir. It seemed to work really well in Golgari, where you already have quite a few must answer threats, and it just adds that stockpile. I envision a mono black aggro deck that just incorporates 4 copies of this, because the fact that you have to remove it twice, and we're already a note that you pointed out that I've also noticed is there's less Sunfall play going on right now. I don't know why that is. Um, but exile based removal stock value is really high right now. Like exile based removal, exile based counter spells, no more lies is putting in a lot of work right now because a lot of these are recursive threats that will just keep coming back even if they're not reanimated. And Unstoppable Slasher is one such threat. So um, definitely my number 9.
Yeah. All right.
Uh,
As for why Sunfall's not seeing as much play, you ever
yeah,
try to cast Sunfall against Mono Red? Yeah,
yeah,
I used to when I would play Blue White Control, I just board out all my Sunfalls. You're not getting to turn 5. If you do, they just play a haste creature and kill you.
yep, yep. That's what you do. When I try to build mono green, I try to incorporate like the haste trample creatures in turn 4, turn 5. There are a few of them because I know that
Mhm.
that's coming, essentially. But yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My number 8 is Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. I won't say too much other than it's incorporated into a deck that we're featuring. So, um, yeah, I like Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. I like when you can, as we talked about already, bring it back over and over again to do its thing. Wild. That card is
Mhm.
wild. That's all I'm gonna say. Let me move on. Overlord of the Baelmerk. I really like this card because of the way it enables some reanimator strategies. I've got it in a mono black reanimator list currently. That I'm going to credit that mono black guy with the initial shell for that, and I just modified his shell and I incorporated 4 copies of this. So yeah, I like that Overlord. It's probably got the cheapest. I think it's got the cheapest impending cost also, so
That's
you can bring it in super early. I'm sure there's an enchantment deck incorporating black that could use that to its advantage somewhere. I don't know, but Valgavoth's Faithful is my number 6. We already talked a little bit about that card, so I won't say anymore. I think it's just gonna have to be a reanimator staple for me. Number 5, Overlord of the Mistmoors. I'll let you mention why you like that card so much, but yes, even though I'm not playing with this card, it's my number 5 because I think it's gonna have a heavy impact on standard. Number 4 is one that I overlooked. Like when I first read this card, I didn't realize just how useful it was going to be. But it is an enchantment. That's significant. It's not like an instant or sorcery speeds. Sorry, or sorcery. It is sorcery speed. It's an enchantment. But it has flash, right? So it's right. That's awesome. And -3/-3 gets rid of so many things, especially if you're playing against red, playing against prowess. Those decks are very popular right now. And then it
Mhm.
gets around that darn one mana green like hexproof spell. Like they're
Oh,
the snakeskin.
Snakeskin Veil.
Yeah, it gets around that. It gets around like anything that comes in with ward. That's awesome to me because there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff like that in standard across different colors as well. So nowhere to
If you
run.
You want to stop that Enchantress stack, this is the way to do it. They're running 8 hexproof effects at instant
Mm,
speed,
mm.
so and that's like how they're relying on protecting their creatures. That plus the like one thing that gives it ward too. That just shuts the entire thing off.
Yes, yes, it does. So I I've got like 3 copies in sideboards of any black based deck right now.
Oh.
Because I expect to see that Enchantress deck. My next favorite card, my number 3, is Silent Hall Creeper. This card's putting in a ton of work. Whether you're adding the 1/1 counters to it or drawing a card based on the situation, I think that's just overpowered. It becomes another must answer threat in a deck that already has several must answer threats. So maybe put this in the
Hmm.
same deck with the Unstoppable Slasher. I don't know. Deep Cavern Bats, Silent Hall Creepers, and Unstoppable Slashers. There's 12. There's 9
My.
right there. There's 9 things you got to respond to right there. But
Mhm.
Enduring Curiosity is my number 2, just because of how much work this has put in for me in that Demir list. Very cool, just be able to draw a card when something hits, and you have things like Silent Hall Creeper, which can come in unblocked, among other things that are also unblocked in the set. So yeah, my number 1, probably because of the thing I mentioned where mono green could actually use it to become domain like and use herd migration. In a mono green ramp package, something based in green, I think this does see play. I've yet to build that list, so when I do, I will let you guys know. But Overlord of the Hauntwoods, I think, has the potential to really make a change for that mono green list and really become another tool for something like Domain, which didn't need any tools. If I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I'm just really upset that it's like, oh man, we have all these like cool like ramp things and cool like ramp targets, and we're always ramping to Atraxa every time. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. The
I'll
fact that
have
it's a
to.
domain token is actually like really, really good for domain too, because it turns on leyline binding at the
Yes.
time where like now their leyline binding comes out so slow because of no triomes.
Yeah, especially so. And I just want to one
Mhm.
comment before I let you get your list is we're gonna have to touch on the debate after a while. Does Domain still want just Atraxa at the top end, or are we gonna see Valgavoth help to start to take over that slot? Um, is there anything else that replaces Atraxa in that list for card advantage, like the Vendrell? Does it go 5 color doors? Anyways, the debate's ongoing online. I think Atraxa wins that debate, in my opinion. I don't think Valgavoth is powerful enough, but who knows? Maybe some
Not even
list.
just that. 7 mana versus 9. There's a big difference.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So anyway, let's go ahead. What were your top 10 favorite cards?
So number 10 is going to be Monstrous Emergence. It's the 2 mana green removal spell that I've been waiting for my entire life. That can't get blown out by removal. So you can target something in your hand, or I mean, just choosing something on the field actually doesn't target it. So there's no chance for your opponent to interact with this with a removal spell because you choose the target as part of the cost, which is a big deal. I mean, granted, it's sorcery speed, so it makes it a bit weak. But when you start to play these green ramp decks outside of Domain, things with like Boltborn or Carnosaur or what's the Spinewoods Armadillo,
Yep.
you have these like 7 power creatures. This becomes 2 mana deal 6 or 2 mana deal 7 if they're sitting in your hand. And I think that's pretty strong, honestly, all things considered. If you look at Gruul Ramp, that's way more than the 5 damaged ones can do. Gruul Ramp can't kill an Atraxa
Nope.
before this, so yeah, that's my number 10. Number 9 is also Unstoppable Slasher. I've been really enjoying this in Mono Black aggro. Um, I ran a list by Vixen Zavir, that Mono Black guy in the Discord, with 4 of these and 3 Bloodletter of Aclazotz, because they just
Mm-hmm.
curve right into each other.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I've definitely killed people from that combo just from like go like turn 2 bat, take the removal, turn 3 this, turn 4 Aclazotz dead.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, big fan. It's also like a little grindy too. So yeah.
I'm glad that deck's out there. As soon as I saw this card, I was like, oh yeah, Bloodletter of Aclazotz, which is way better than the combo that we used to run in black with
Oh
that card.
god. Rush of Dread.
Yeah,
That
Rush of
terrible
Dread.
card.
Yeah, that card is
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Fun note, when someone told me about the, Innkeeper's Talent, Vraska combo, when
Uh-huh.
I first looked at it, I'm like, "Isn't this just Bloodletter Rush of Dread? Like, why would you play these cards?" And now look at them, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
oh, man. Next up is gonna be Head Shredder. I've been playing Golgari Analyst. A more I don't like full combo decks. I like combo
Mm.
decks that have like a good plan B, and this
Mhm.
really, really helps a plan B. The fact that it gets crewed by both Vine Lasher and by Analyst is a big deal. It plays into what you're already trying to do, and it being a 5/5 body is actually pretty big for the size. Like it kills Shieldred. It trades with Shieldred, so yeah, big fan of this card so far. Haven't played too much of the shell though.
Okay.
Um, Next up is going to be Enduring Innocence. So this sees play in the Azorius Eerie / Enchantress deck. I've also played it in Pioneer in my mono white deck, replacing Caretaker's Talent because you're playing like mostly creatures now in that shell. Yeah, good card. I have no real other notes. I just draw a card every turn, and especially in the Enchantress deck, if you put a few auras on this, the fact that it's lifelink is really strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that lifelink helps it along quite a bit.
Number 6 is going to be Withering Torment. This is the 3 mana black enchantment removal at instant speed. Probably the best black enchantment removal we have now, like in Standard or Pioneer. I don't know anything about Modern, but yeah, 3 mana, kill an enchantment, lose 2 life. I mean, it's not great, but it kind of fits in with Black's color pie. We probably needed a third color to remove enchantments
Mhm.
at this rate. Um, and it's been nice. I've been playing like Dimir Control, Rakdos stuff, and Rakdos being able to kill both artifacts and enchantments is actually really, really good right now. Especially if you think about the new Rakdos land you got with Flood Farm or whatever it's called, something Verge. You get black turn 1 for cut down, so that's another, like, big thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. So, big on Rakdos right now because of this card.
Okay.
Number 5 is gonna be Abhorrent Oculus. Big fan of how the Mentor decks have turned out. Can't wait to get our second 1 mana cantrip in Standard. Um, that way I can build Izzet instead of Azorius with this, 'cause I love me some Izzet.
Yeah,
Uh,
there needs to be a good Izzet deck out there. I haven't seen
mhm,
that.
yeah,
I think Otters is probably the only one we have currently that's competing. And I'm not
yeah.
sure that that deck is there yet.
It's not really, like not really that great. Like Jeskai Control is like the closest you're gonna get to an Izzet deck, and it's more like Boros splashing blue.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Next up is Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. I have been loving this card, reanimating it or mostly reanimating it. But this card is super strong. Coiling Rebirth, make 2 copies. You can push, pull, play 2 of these, attack in with them. 4 damage removes pretty much anything in the format. Um, And the 5/5 body, I mean, it's a 9 damage, on an empty board, it's 9 damage when it swings, right? And it's so hard to block, right? Because your opponent sets up double blockers, and then you, like, swing, kill one of the blockers, now they can't double block it. So sometimes they just have to let it through, and it gets really you get your opponent into awkward board states with it. It's been super fun to play with. It's hard to find a good shell for it, but it's been
Hmm.
fun to play with. Next up is Hauntwood Shrieker. This is the card I can't find a shell for this card yet, but this card seems so insane to me. Um, just
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's a 3/3 and the only like green mid range deck right now is Golgari means it's not going to replace Glissa, so it's probably not going to see play for a second. But we got Llanowar Elves coming in
Yep.
Foundations, and Llanowar Elves into turn 2 Hauntwood Shrieker seems really really crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is my number 3. I know you love green. Have you played with this card yet?
I have not.
No.
I've been just this. Probably this week I'll crack green. I have to try every single set, and Hauntwood Shrieker is one that I want to play test with. This and the Kona Rescue Beastie. I want to see if I can
Oh
make
yeah,
that
yeah.
work. But that one seems like a more of a like brew rather than something that would actually
Mhm.
be competitive. But anyway, yeah, Hauntwood Shrieker is definitely in that list.
All right. Number two is gonna be fear of missing out. Good old FOMO. So when I was first making this list, before I started playing the set, this wasn't even on the list. And then I started playing the set, and the more I played with this card, the more I've loved it. I've been enjoying it with Cruel Claw, Preacher, Overlords, Aclazotz. You just get like so much stuff. But Restless Vents, even just a Restless Vents getting you
Yeah.
2 cycles. Um, yeah, huge fan of this card. It enables so many lethals. As soon as you hit Delirium, you can surprise your opponent by like, oh, you have like a 4/4 creature and they're at 8. Well, you swing this in the 4/4 and attack twice with it. Now they're dead, right? So yeah, I think this card's really good. I can't wait to see what else people come up with this card.
Yeah, the scenario I envisioned right off the rip was fear of missing out and then Cruel Claw getting 2 attacks in.
Hmm. Yeah,
that, that would
yeah,
just
it's
be insane.
backbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is backbreaking. And then my number one, anyone who knows me should know this was coming, but it's Overlord of the Mistmoors. Um, I love making tokens. I love big white creatures that just flood the board with a bunch of bullshit. Sad I never got to play with Sun Titan, but you know what? This is my Sun Titan. This is the Zoomer Sun Titan.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
This card
that.
is great. I've been having a ton of fun playing mono white with this. I've seen Zerlists abuse this. I've seen Enigmatic use this. I've seen um what was it? I've seen like the Boros Caretaker deck use this.
Mm.
Yeah, big fan. I've seen Domain use this.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean, why not? Because domain, my whole critique of domain is that it doesn't do enough before turn 5.
Mhm.
And yeah, bring this in. The impending cost is not a bad move at all.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. Okay,
Yeah. And triggers Beanstalk, which,
that's
just icing
right.
on the cake.
That's
Yeah,
right.
impending triggers Beanstalk, which is icing on the cake.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go. Hell yeah.
those are my top 10.
Wow, very cool, very
Yeah.
cool. And yeah, not a very objective list because this is more or less based on how we've been playing so far and what we've been noticing. And I know you
Mhm.
and I both included a couple of cards that don't have shells, but we think have some potential in the future. So we're gonna keep tabs on all these cards. I suspect the Overlords. They my assessment is the Overlords well designed. Definitely already hitting the
Agreed.
field, seeing competitive play, many of them. So yeah, all except for the blue one.
Gee, would you look at that? Who would have thought 3 mana, draw 2, discard 1 is unplayable in standard?
That's wild. Man,
Yeah.
that would have been OP like in the early days of Magic. But anyway, uh,
Back in my day over here.
uh
Mm.
all right, let's talk about the decks that we've been playing, we've been trying out. All of these have links that I can put into the description. We each picked 3 different decks to talk about, to take a look at. So I'll pull them up on the screen now. Go ahead, Athena. What is the first one you want to talk about?
So, the first deck that I've been playing, this is the one that I have spent the most time on since the new set. It's gonna be Rakdos Reanimator. So, fun story. Myself, Dark Rictus, CVD, MTG, and Gask 1010, all from the Rebellion Discord. We entered the Big Brain Games Arena Tourney number 4 today, um, around like 12:30 in the afternoon. And this was the deck I brought, not this exact list. This is the deck that I
Okay.
brought, was Rakdos Reanimator. And then after the tournament, Rictus and I sat down, worked on this deck a whole bunch, and rebuilt it for like from the ground up to make it better. This deck is so much fun, guys. You can get some really crazy lethals with this out of nowhere. I've been playing. I wanted a reanimator deck that doesn't just die to a rip or a leyline of the void, and this is that deck. Um, it's so funny to watch like a Golgari player go like turn 4 frillback to like remove my graveyard, and then my turn 4 is like impend a red overlord. Good luck, have fun. What do you deal with this? Um, So it's really funny, right? Because you're not playing anything like Valgavoth or Atraxa that you're never going to cast, right? There's 4 and 6 mana creatures that you're playing to reanimate. But the reason you're reanimating such cheap creatures is because of Coiling Rebirth and Push Pull. Because one of these creatures may not be worth a 5 mana reanimate spell, but 2 of them, insane, absolutely insane. If you get 2 Overlord of the Boiler Bilges, with Push Pull, so 6 mana, or with Coiling Rebirth, and then you sack a Bitter Triumph, so also 6 mana. You deal, uh, it's 20 damage with the Coiling Rebirth one, or 21 damage with the Coiling Rebirth one. It's 26 with the Push Pull one on an empty board. Any combination of Overlord and Vein Ripper and Fear of Missing Out with Delirium activated, any combination of those will kill your opponent from 20 on an empty
Whew.
board. So that is, yeah. So this has been super fun. You're basically playing like Rakdos mid range, but then you just have this like backdoor reanimator game plan. Um, there's a ton of removal for mono red. Like prowess lists are having I'm having a really hard time like losing to prowess lists. I don't imagine that's a bad matchup at all. You also get some fun stuff with Cruel Claw. So like FOMO plus Cruel Claw has been a really good like mid-range grind plan for me, where you get your opponent to use the removal on all your big stuff, you finally get them down, and then you land like FOMO, Delirium, attack twice with Cruel Claw. Here's a Vein Ripper, here's a Liliana, deal with it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, big fan. Against Domain, I've just been bringing in like more Ripper and more Push Pull just to combo them out. Um, yeah, super fun list. Definitely recommend it. There's actually a sideboard guide up on the Coffee and Grinders sideboard guide list. So if you're not already joined with us on YouTube for that, you should. It's what, $3.99, $4.99 a month? Remember it
Three
offhand?
3.99, I think. Don't quote me on that, y'all.
3.99 a month. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's $3.99 a month. You get access to our sideboard guides, which Rictus works on a lot, and sometimes I'll like join in and help him out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
go and check that out. That's a good bang for your buck value right there. You know, most sideboard guides cost a lot more than that, and you only get like one deck. So
Yeah, yeah.
go check that out. It's a living, breathing document that gets constant work. But yeah, join down below if you haven't already. All right. What else have you got for us?
So I've actually got this deck that I pulled from an MTGO standard challenge. Got there's one that placed 4th and one that placed 7th. It is in Azorius Enchantress deck. There's a lot of consistency with this deck. So when I first saw this archetype, it's funny because Figured Base brought this up to me as like a potential deck, and I kind of like laughed at it. And then as soon as I saw like the version that like got 4th and 7th, I was really impressed because they're running, like if you look at this list, right? Generally you say like 8 of an engine is a really good engine, right? Like 8 of a card that does like
Mhm.
similar things is going to be your engine. You have 8 instant speed hexproof effects. You have 8 enchant or cards that say, you know, once per turn draw a card essentially. You have 6 enchantments that are removal spells. So you get a lot of consistency with your draws with this, despite the fact that it's one of those decks that you can draw the wrong half of your deck.
Mm.
Um, it grinds really well. So Entity Tracker, I don't know if you remember, we talked about this card when we did our like rare set review, and we said like it seems good, but like the fact it dies to cut down's a little risky. Well, if your opponent has to cut down your 1-drop and your 2-drop, maybe this sticks around, you know, and it
Yeah.
does. It really does stick around, especially having flash, um, because it plays so well with like the fact that you have Fey Flight and Shard Mage's Rescue to be able to instant speed save your creatures. So yeah, big fan of the stack. Sideboard plan's pretty simple. You get to like bring in counters against big decks. Kidnap's kind of funny. I've kept it in. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to bring it in. I feel like I'm already bringing in so much against Domain with counters and Destroy Evil. Um, but it is in there in case you want to like take their Atraxa or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, big fan of this deck. Been super fun playing this on the ladder. This is what CVD brought actually to the tournament today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I dig this. I got to play test against this on the release day stream against Figured Base.
Hmm.
And it seemed like a solid idea. And so I'm happy to see it move forward. I like Enduring Innocence, especially for this deck. Very
Yeah,
cool.
me
Kind
too.
of kind of reminds me of Welcoming Vampire, but a little better.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
definitely. Okay.
Mhm.
Definitely something I want to try out as well. All right. What is the deck you really want to talk about? I have a feeling this next one is it.
Well, the one, like I said, the one I spent the most time on was the Reanimator deck. This is definitely next on my list to spend the most time on, and this is mono white mid range. You can call it mono white control if you want. Um, Basically, I've just taken 4 Overlord of the Mistmours and shoved them into mono white caretakers. Um, Big fan of this archetype. Um, I I can't state enough how much I love cards like Lay Down Arms, Beza, Overlord of the Mistmours, Eternal Wander, just these really, really grindy white cards that just get you so much value. Oh man, Lay Down Arms is such a good removal spell. They use so many white sources to turn it on turn 1 to kill like a Heartfire hero. And then it's like, imagine if Cut Down scaled, right? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like how I see it. It's like
Yeah.
sorcery speed cut down that exiles the thing, right? So it's like you're always going to be able to hit the 1 drops and 2 drops, right? But then this can also, like, you get to 5 lands and this exiles their Overlord of the Hauntwoods, for 1 mana, and that's insane. And any list that uses Laydown Arms plus a bunch of tokens is going to be near and dear to my heart. Yeah, test this out. If you plan on seeing a lot of domain, bring more Elish Norns. That is your only hope. That or Stonebrain. Because the domain players are coming out in full force.
Yeah. Yeah. Elish Norn puts in a lot of work still. People forget that card exists until it happens to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
All
All
right.
right. So those are the 3 decks I've been playing. So, Max, what have you been playing since Duskmourn released this past Tuesday?
So the kind of the counter to the Azorius Enchantress on the other side of the color pie,
Hmm.
Cruel Prowess. This deck has been sticking around standard and modifying itself with every new set and just being a problem. So why not play the villain role and occasionally play Cruel Prowess as I have off camera? I haven't streamed this deck. I've been trying to use my streams to play more of like the stuff I would really enter an event with. But Cruel Prowess is putting up big numbers on the ladder. People are seeing a lot of success with it. It's become the deck to sideboard against when you're considering your sideboard plans. Heartfire Hero has become a staple in red-based aggro builds, so I mean this card is everywhere. Often run with the 4 copies of Manifold Mouse, even though uh, you can only target mice with that ability, and sometimes the only other mouse in the deck is Heartfire Hero. Still, that's a really
Hmm.
crazy ability, triggering Valiant. The card that most people are debating, the one that really has the online community in a tizzy, is whether to include Leyline of Resonance or not. Um, I know we don't talk about Best of One at all here, and that's because it's not tournament magic, but in Best of One, this is wrecking that meta. The meta has heavily
Yeah.
skewed towards mono red Leyline decks. And so
Hmm.
that's caused a lot of people to talk about this in that context. In a best of 3 setting, my opinion is still that this card makes that mono red deck way too inconsistent. But I think it finds a home here in Gruul Prowess, especially because now we have cards like Turn Inside Out, which allow you to manifest dread. Any way in which this deck can get more card advantage, find more cards to play, and not run out of gas is the way to go. And I think 4 copies of Turn Inside Out was perfect
Hmm.
to really kind of balance out the fact that you might mulligan a couple times trying to get this in your opening hand. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to play with it more. I haven't played with it enough to really give a judge an assessment of whether this is one of those decks you really want to enter into an event with. I think the target is on its back though, and we'll start to see many more sideboard plans go towards mitigating this deck's capabilities. So
Yeah.
I already talked about Screaming Nemesis and just what it's doing. Screaming Nemesis in conjunction with Urbrass Forge, you're usually siding those in together because eliminating life gain, and then that's what allows you to be able to kill with the Urbrass Forge much more easily. So these 2 cards definitely go together really well. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any other notes other than Paw Patch Formation. is the response to all the enchantments that are out and about right now. So that's going to be your sideboard game plan there. The deck has become pretty solidified, pretty solved, other than this issue about whether to include Leyline of Resonance or not. But many of the builds that you're going to see are going to include it, so that kind of answers that question. Yeah, that's all I have for Gruul Prowess. Um, the next deck I have is one that I'm actually going to put a video out on this week. It is Dimir Aggro, and this is the current iteration of the deck. I've been toying with the 3-drop slot a lot. Really between gosh, name of the card is not coming to me, but the 3-drop blue card, it comes in and it's a flyer, 2/2 vigilance, and you get to basically, draw 2 and discard a flyer or a instant sorcery spell or discard 2. But just for a lot of hand filtering and draw mechanics, I used to run it in my prof decks a lot. I'll put the card up on the screen now in post. But Unstoppable Slasher has taken over that slot. I think having these stacking these cards that are must answer threats is really the way to go here. And this particular game plan, you don't have to follow me there with Invasion of Amonkhet, but I've been using Invasion of Amonkhet to really pull off some surprising plays. Graveyard play is back, and so this is kind of one way to sort of take advantage of that fact that your opponent's going to be keeping their graveyard in play. Not seeing a whole lot of Rest in Peace, not seeing a whole lot of graveyard hate, honestly, not yet. We probably will in subsequent weeks. And I'll have to reassess then whether to keep with the Invasion of Amonkhet in the game plan. But the reason I like this card is because of Aquazotz. It synergizes so well with Aquazotz, and Aquazotz is such a good, just multifaceted card, uh, mitigating their card advantage while you're enhancing yours with cards like Enduring Curiosity. Um, I've been toying with these two in the 4-drop slot. One may take over the slot of the other. If Unstoppable Slasher gets in enough in my testing or in my play, I may just go to 2 Bloodletter of Aquazotz, but I don't know. The debate is up there for me. I haven't decided yet. Enduring Curiosity is really cool, especially because it's flash speed, and you just draw cards. Just draw a ton of cards. And then Silent Hall Creeper. I've probably talked about this one enough, but putting in a ton of work in this list. This is my favorite 2-drop. It took over the slot of Fairy Mastermind. I still like having the 1-drop evasive creature just to trigger Gix on turn 3 or be the thing that gets removed, and usually it does get removed. So you're doing that graveyard ability where you pay 3 to draw a card later in the game. That can help quite a bit if you're kind of stalled out and it's sort of a Mexican standoff situation with your opponent. So this is a Gix deck. Card advantage is the name of the game. I love it. There's a lot of reanimation going on, so I've got one copy of Cruelty of Gix to take advantage of my opponent having cool stuff in their graveyard that I might want to take. And then Valgavoth, I think, is just the best reanimator target right now for this list, and it's the one that I like to play with a lot. I might in this game plan include more Bitter Triumphs in the sideboard because you want to be able to discard things from your hand to reanimate. Um, so Liliana, Bitter Triumph, those are 2 ways that I like to do that. I might in the future add more of these. I'm still keeping up with the 2 Tishana's Tidebinders because there's still like the Abzan Super Friends deck is out there. There are Planeswalkers all over certain lists, certain control lists. So Tidebinder's doing some work. Uh, I like old Kaido. I haven't used new Kaido yet. I haven't found a use for that one. But I like Kaido Dancing Shadows still as a good tempo option against more aggressive builds. And then this deck
So
gets. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, can you really call this Demir aggro if you're playing like Valgavoth, 2 Aquazotz, like the Cruelty of Gix? You really call this Demir aggro, Max? I feel like it's a very disingenuous name.
So I don't want to call it mid range because it has a heavy early game plan where you are interacting early, you are doing things early, and there's 2 kinds of ramp. Well, not ramp. That's a misnomer. There's 2 kinds of ways to play expensive cards, right? You can ramp into them, or if you're not playing green, you can have card advantage and find your lands every turn. And that's what tends to happen with this deck is that card advantage goes towards having a land drop every turn up to turn 5. So for that reason, I find myself more often than not actually just playing Aclazotz on turn 5. Uh, so it's kind of a side effect of the early card advantage game plan. And so it doesn't penalize me to have 4 drops, 5 drops. This card that I want to reanimate right here with Cruelty of Gix. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I call it Demir mid range, but it's to me I'm more focused on the aggro game plan. Being able to get these cards out is kind of a bonus in my opinion. So that might be why I named it as such. If that answers your question.
Okay.
So that's Demir aggro. I'm gonna go now to the list that I had a lot of fun on release day with playing against the Azorius Enchantress deck, playtesting against Figured Base. I played this list in one of those matchups, and I liked it better than the Orzhov Reanimator list. I love Valgavoth's Faithful. I think we've already talked about why that's a good card. I think this version might start to include more copies of Nowhere to Run, especially if I'm seeing the Enchantress deck a lot. We'll see. But 4 copies of Unstoppable Slasher, 2 copies of Aclazotz, that may go up to 3. That is something that, and then I may push one of the Harvesters of Miseries into the sideboard. But 4 copies of Overlord of the Bale Merc to kind of enable little self mill, enable the Reanimator game plan. What and Flesh Gorger, my god. I forgot how good this card was until recently. I remembered it existed
Hmm.
again. But the life, like I said earlier, when we were talking about Screaming Nemesis, life gain is how you mitigate some of these mono red, Gruul Prowess, aggro strategies, and traditionally anyway. So having that on turn 3 is good. You play this on turn 3, they kill it, you bring it back, and it's a full bodied 7/5 with Menace and Lifelink, which, that's that's great, and being able to do that again is really cool. Valgavoth is my major reanimator target. I just love that ward. Sacrificing 3 dollars. I just love that ward. That ward is backbreaking. Um, Withering Torment is in my sideboard. That may shift to the main board depending on what we see in the meta this upcoming week. Um, Withering Torment and Nowhere to Run have sort of become the 2 staple removal cards for black. So yeah, this list is pretty straightforward. One card that you may overlook, but I urge you not to, is Servant of the Stinger. Just being able to go and find the thing you need. Sometimes it's just like a wealth of options. I'm paralyzed by a wealth of options when I get to actually use that and just go find something. Um, but yeah, the thing I want to happen the most with this deck is Unstoppable Slasher in a Bloodletter of Aclazotz, so I may include another copy in the next iteration. But yeah, Mono Black Reanimator, very fun. Not sure if it's going to be tournament competitive. We shall see. But I suspect going with the single color option for a Reanimator list has your mana base is easy, very easy to figure out. So oh, and one last thing I want to point out: the demolition fields are in there to trigger the crime for Servant of the Stinger more often than not. So if you don't have anything else to commit a crime with, that's what they're in there for. So yeah, those are my 3 lists.
All right. So, for anyone interested in looking at any of those lists again, maybe trying them for yourself, they're going to be available down below in the description via Moxfield links. So definitely go check those out. And also check out the MTG Rebellion Discord, where we're constantly talking about updating our lists. I know Vixen Zavir, that mono black guy, has been updating this like mono black reanimator list a whole bunch. I've been working on Rakdos Reanimator alongside Rictus. There's a couple people working on Azorius Enchantress all the time. I know Rictus recently was just on a kick with Gruul Prowess. So yeah, definitely check out the Rebellion Discord if you want to get all types of insights from the different members.
Yeah, and get the live changes to the decks because we
Mm-hmm.
have we have those channels for each archetype. Just go in there
Yep.
and see, scroll all the way to the bottom and see what the latest tech is. And I love doing that whenever I run out of ideas.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, to kind of wrap up everything from this Duskmourn set, what we are going to do, the same as we did last time, we're going to take a look into the future, look at the next set in rotation, Foundations, and beyond. Max, I'll let you start with this. Pick one card from Foundations that's been revealed already and talk to me about why you're excited about the card and what you're looking to do with that card.
Yeah, so I think I even got tagged when this got spoiled by several people in several different discords, but
Hmm.
Llanowar Elves is coming back Magic and coming back to Standard. Um Many of you already know what this card does and what it does for sort of the ramp archetype. It's going to do work for Mono Green Stompy, enabling all sorts of high dollar strategies that that deck needs to survive and be competitive. But it's also in any sort of green based ramp. Jun loves to do that. Golgari loves to do that. There's many archetypes that rely on green based ramp. This is going to enable those strategies. We're already seeing ramp is a thing. We have the Gruul ramp list that it's kind of a dark horse, sitting outside the meta often. It needs something, and this could be part of that game plan to make that deck more competitive. And that's something I personally want. I like creature based magic, I like ramp based strategies, being able to play with big things early. It's sort of what tickles my endorphins. My dopamine rush is from being able to do that. So Llanowar Elves is going to be a huge foundation. It's going to be foundational to ramp based magic in the future. So really looking forward to it.
It's nice, and definitely on the stompy side of things. I mean, there's a bunch of three drops in standard that you want to
Mhm.
play on turn two, right? I mentioned Hauntwood Shrieker already. You can play Glissa on turn two after this, right?
Yeah.
You don't even have to look specifically in, right? Like you can look at some red three drops and like see what you want to grab from there, right? So there's a whole bunch of different options when you add Llanowar Elves and any other like one mana ramp card to a format. Um, so I'm definitely excited about that. And also important to note, it's gonna be here for 9 years, right? That's what they said.
I think that's what they said. It's some
Yeah, it was
ridiculous
something
number.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Foundations isn't gonna rotate for like 9 or 8 years out of standard. So we're gonna have this for a long time. All right. So for me personally, what I'm excited for, and this is less a single card than it is anything else, but my card's gonna be Helpful Hunter. Uh, and the reason I'm picking Helpful Hunter is because there's going to be a very heavy white cats theme in this set. Um, and one thing, if there's one thing I've learned from playing white mid range through the years, it's that there is a lot, and I mean a lot of good white mid range cards that are cats. Like if you look at
Yeah.
Brimaz, Regal Caracol, even if you look at stuff that isn't really played as much, Adorned Pouncer, Leonin Ward Leader, I think is one of them. Kahira as a companion, right? I feel like every time we see like a focus on like on cats in white, we get some good like white mid-rangey card out of it. Um, Helpful Hunter, it's like Spirited Cat Panion, right? It's like 2 mana, 1/1, draw a card. Um, that's totally playable in different decks in standard. And just the fact that like this is here alongside all the other cats we've seen, um, I'm expecting some like really good like 2, 3, 4 drop cat and rare or mythic that just like really gets like a lot of work done on the mid range side of things. Maybe I get that mystery like good 2 mana mid range white creature to like rival the Mosswoods and the Blood Tide Harvesters of the world.
Yeah. This is probably going to see some play in Foundations isn't just for standard, right? It's also going to be legal in other formats as well.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, Pioneer, Pioneer's getting some stuff. Or is this actually? Are these reprints? Are all of these
You know,
reprints?
I don't think they're all reprints, but this was
Okay.
Spirited Companion, and Companion
Yeah.
has the enchantment tag on it, which is going to be better. I don't actually imagine a whole lot from this set is going to go into Pioneer.
Okay. Okay.
Just because it kind of seems like they're going like lower power level but consistent stuff. We're probably gonna see like 1 mana cantrip. I know they've already showed Elspeth Smite. They have like Day of Judgment. They're very basic effects, but they are like when you need them, they are gonna be good to just have as a baseline in standard.
Okay. But yeah, that was my question.
Mhm.
Was are some of these brand new cards?
Yeah, were there any? I mean, I'm pretty sure Helpful Hunter is technically a brand new card.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Yeah. There's also I'm pretty sure Vengeful Blood Witches too. That being a
Yeah.
blood artist effect is pretty interesting for like sacrifice decks. Um, so yeah. Be on the lookout for Foundations and what it's gonna bring to Magic. I wonder when spoiler season is actually. I have to look into that.
Yeah, I hope they only gave us a little trickle. I thought
Mm.
the Anthem of Champions was very interesting. Um, just because I know Selesnya isn't really a thing right now, but I know they keep trying
Have
to
we
like.
have we ever had a 2-mana anthem? Like straight up 2-mana anthem, like no like,
Hmm,
no like requirements to get it or anything? I don't think we
I
have,
don't think
right?
so. I think three is about as low as it gets typically.
I mean, would you play a 2-mana flipped wedding announcement? I would. I
Yeah,
think that's playable.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so I'm hype. I'm hype for Foundations.
me too. I think
Yeah.
I'm hyped for what it's going to do to mix things up. Hopefully, we don't
Mm,
get any like new sunfalls or anything that I want to rotate, and then that'll start to create arguments about whether
mm.
things will need to be banned, and
They're
I don't want
printing
that.
Atraxa and Foundations, so you and I can both cry for the next 9 years.
Is that confirmed? Are you
No, no,
kidding?
no, no. I
Oh,
no,
okay,
God, no.
okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Oh my God. It's
You gave me.
how to get me to play Pioneer for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I was gonna say something
Yeah.
similar. My God, that would be
All right.
horrific.
Right.
Oh,
All right.
D-
Well,
4 mana destroy all creatures isn't that bad.
yeah.
I mean, Wrath of God, right? Wrath of God is coming to
Hmm.
standard,
Yeah.
but
Omniscience might be the most annoying thing so far because
yeah.
people are gonna go like reenact the crime into Omniscience and just do dumb
Yep.
stuff with it. So yeah.
Not looking forward to that. Oh
Right.
man. But that's pretty much all the time we have for today. Thank you to everybody for tuning in to this Duskmourn starter kit. And go ahead and share with your buddies at the LGS. Let them know the MTG Rebellion is here to help you figure out where to go competitively in Magic.
Right. And then this episode of the Rebelcast is sponsor free. So if you'd like to contribute to what we do and make sure we stay in the game as long as possible, consider making a purchase in our merch store or joining the Rebellion down below.
That's pretty much it. Athena, do you have any closing thoughts on this set? Anything that you'd like to add? What's your overall grade of Duskmourn?
Let me see here. So for scale, I would rate Bloomborough like a B minus.
Mm-hmm.
Duskmourn is like B plus or A minus. Like it's a good set. I really like this set.
I'm definitely willing to agree. Give it a B. I also gave Bloomborough a B. I just hope that Wizards keeps designing sets with standard in mind as they have. It's the
Yeah,
flagship
me too.
format. Yeah.
I
The
think it's kind of nice that we have like all these like mechanics that work into each other. That's been one thing that's impressed me about standard is like you look back in like Lost Caverns of Ixalan, right? We got the descend mechanic, right?
yeah, yeah,
And how many things have we seen that trigger descend without actually saying descend, right? Those
yeah,
types of mechanics are really cool. We got the same thing with we talked about it earlier, right? All the graveyard stuff that's been
yeah.
happening with
Foraging,
descend and
yeah, all that
yeah.
stuff.
All the enchantment stuff that's been happening in standard, all the like different enchantment themes. We've seen some artifact themes get repeated over and over. Yeah, so I am Convoke, right? You have the survival mechanic, works with Convoke, works with like the LCI stuff of tapping stuff down, like Warden of the Inner Sky.
Yep.
Yeah, so just a bunch of stuff that all just work together very cleanly.
That was, and
Yeah,
before we sign off, that was my criticism of standard design about a year ago. Is they would release these mechanics and they'd be only good for that set or only synergize well within cards within that
toxic.
set. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Toxic is the number one example of that. No one
yep.
liked that mechanic either. So
Right, right. Happy to see things go in a different direction, but
Mhm.
that's all we have for you today. Until next time, untap, upkeep, resist.
Zest.